Hello friends, how's it going today? Another project in the shop. Now this is my old 1980 Sears Craftsman Indy 500 tractor. I actually bought this for the house and I used it as a snowblower there for a long time. I moved it to the shop last year thinking I'd need to plow the drive and keep this place clean, but we didn't really have any snow, so I didn't use it at all last year. So I just kind of kept it tucked away. Well, this year I replaced the battery in it because I knew the battery was a little weak last year, and I went to start this thing and it didn't do anything. So it didn't start at all. So something's wrong now that I need to repair. So today I'm going to dive into what that issue is. I suspect it's either the solenoid or the starter. Those are the two common things. I turn the key and it doesn't do anything. So what I need to do today is get the hood off of this and then start diagnosing problems. Changing some wires, checking to see maybe something got chewed on while it was sitting outside. That could be, I've got chipmunks in the area and they kind of like to chew up everything. So it's possible that maybe they chewed some wiring. Don't know. Didn't see any dead ones around, thinking if they chewed wiring, maybe they get zapped. Maybe not. I don't know. I haven't had a whole lot of rodent problems where they chewed up a lot of wiring in my own personal experience, but I've heard that they do that. And this was stored outside behind the shop for the entire summer and all of last winter and of course the spring until now. So I'm going to go ahead and get the hood taken off and then start chasing problems to kind of see what is wrong with this tractor. You can probably see all the leaves and debris that are in this thing. There's acorns up in here. There's a lot of a mess in here, honestly, where the chipmunks were kind of living. I should have not stored it outside, but I didn't have a good place to put this thing, so I left it out. It was covered up a little bit, and I kind of thought that was a good spot. I didn't know I had chipmunks right here, but I guess I do, and I can see that they've been in here. I don't see any chewed on wiring. I don't see anything that's disconnected. But I do have a fuse here. Maybe I should check that and see if that's blown. That could be a culprit. The fuse looks intact, like it's in good shape, so I don't believe that's the issue, and I think this is the only fuse that's in here. I don't see any other ones. I do have one red wire that is unplugged, and I'm not exactly sure what that was plugged into. It's got a blade end on it. I'll bring you guys around and let you take a look at that in a minute here, just as I'm looking at things, and maybe this is my issue. It looks like that hooks to the horn, and I don't think that's the problem. As you can see in this area, there's leaves, there's a bunch of acorns, there's droppings from the chipmunks, so they've been in here. But the wiring looks like it's mostly intact. I can see everything running to the starter. I do need to check and make sure my grounds are good, and it looks like they are. I do have this one wire here that I believe hooks to the horn. There's two blades on the horn here. One is connected and one is not. The bad part is the one that's not connected goes from red to black to red, which hooks to the post here, which I'm assuming is power, and the other one is red to horn. So I guess that does hook to the horn. It's got to be. So we'll plug that back in, so at least that will work. Not that the horn's a necessity, but maybe that needs to be connected to make this thing make a good solid connection. I'm not sure. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab the battery off the tender because I wanted to make sure that the battery was charged. It's a brand new battery, and I know sometimes they come not fully charged, and it went right to green, so it is charged. We'll plug the battery back in, we'll hook it back up, we'll turn the key and see what it does. All right, with the battery hooked back up, we're going to put it back on the tray. We'll jump on the tractor here and then see what kind of noises it makes. You guys can hear what it's doing once I get on this thing. We'll get it put back in its spot here. Hop on the tractor, we'll push the brake down. That way the brake is all the way in. Go ahead and choke this thing, see what it does. I get a pop. And then nothing. So I'm assuming that's probably the solenoid. So I don't have any power past the solenoid to the actual starter, and that must be the solenoid popping. So let me listen to that closely here and kind of watch it. I think that's where it's coming from. I think that's my issue. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and remove the battery here. I'm going to pull the solenoid itself, and I'm going to go to the tractor supply and see if I can get a new one and replace that. I believe that's the problem. I don't think it's the starter. If it is the starter, maybe we'll try to advance it with a hammer. So I'll go ahead and hit this a couple times as I'm turning it and see if that does anything. But I really do feel like it's the solenoid. Let me get a hammer real quick. We'll tunk on the starter here. We'll see if that makes any bit of a difference. I'll hit the starter a couple times here, see if I can make connection with it. It's going to be hard to do off of the tractor, so I'll go ahead and push the brake down. We'll turn this on, see what it does. Still doing the same thing. Still believe it's the solenoid. So what I'm going to do now is disconnect this battery again, pull the solenoid out, take it to the tractor place and see if that makes any bit of a difference. I'm not sure where that sound's coming from 100%. It could be the starter. I believe I can rotate the engine over just fine. Yep, still got good compression. It's not making any bit of a difference. Nope, still doesn't. I don't love that sound. I'm not sure what that is either. It might, I don't know. So before I head to my farm store, I want to check the ohm reading on this solenoid. I have removed it completely. I went ahead and actually scrubbed the bolts that hold it in place. I cleaned up the surface area where it mounts to make sure I'm getting a good ground through the solenoid itself. I do have my meter set to 200 ohms, and I'm going to check across the poles to see what we're getting here. If we're getting any kind of a reading at all. I don't suspect we will. Getting nothing there. Nothing there. I'm getting nothing on any of the posts. So it looks like this is dead. Yeah, I'm getting 0 on all 4 posts. So my assumption is that this solenoid is bad. So now what I need to do is remove it the rest of the way, go to my farm store, buy the correct one, install that, and try again and see where we're at. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. I was able to pick one up from my local hardware store. It's a universal replacement 4-post solenoid. So it's not exactly the same one as what was in there. I did look online and it looks like I could probably order one. That was a replacement too, so that's a different model than what came stock on this. But the hardware store said this should fit just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing assembled. The difference with it is it can mount multiple different ways. And then instead of having the blade posts here, it has these bolt down posts. But it does have a conversion kit for those. So I'm going to go ahead and set that up the right way. Get this thing all ready to be installed properly. All right, moment of truth here. I have my new solenoid installed. I've got my battery hooked back up. So now I just need to make sure that I have the brake depressed all the way. We're going to turn the key and see if we get any kind of action. No clicks, that's a positive note. Hey, with that, it turns over. That's a good thing. So what I need to do now is I need to go ahead and open the door here, and we'll get this thing to actually fire up and run. Now with the door open, we're going to go ahead and crank this thing over and see if we can get it to start up all the way. Well, friends, as you can see, we got the tractor back to running. It's running great. It does have some old fuel in it, so it's smoking a little bit and doesn't want to run real well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hose the carburetor out. I'm going to put some fresh gas in that thing, and then it's ready for the season, if it snows around here. I'm not sure if it's going to or not. It may not. I guess it depends on what weather channel you actually check. You know, some forecasts are saying we're going to get dumped on and have more snow than ever, and other places are saying we're going to have no snow. It's going to be the hottest, season on record. So I guess we shall see what happens. Anyway, guys, just wanted to kind of show you my tractor, have you follow along and, see what the problem was and show you a quick little fix. That little solenoid wasn't getting power across it, and that's all it needed. So thankfully, that was an easy solution. That's all it needed. Now we got a new one in there. She runs like a brand new machine, and I am thrilled. As always, friends, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button. I work on all kinds of things, all my own stuff, honestly. I've got a couple Vespas in the works. I've got a couple Harleys in the works. I've got a few projects I've been kind of just not working on, but getting ready to. I know the 48 is still in the background here, and there's a lot that needs to be done with that. The 75, I've got something special for that, and that's coming up pretty soon. So I'll be back on that pretty soon. And then, of course, the 1958 Vespa, which is an ongoing project. We've got a ton of parts on order, and a lot of things are slowly starting to cycle in. So you'll be able to see that thing come together soon. As always, guys, I appreciate you all watching. We'll catch you next time.